I had been thinking about getting a 1976 through 1978 Elsinore 125 for a few years now to restore. Every once in a while I would check eBay or Facebook Marketplace out of curiosity just to see if there's anything there. I had a 1977 model in 1985, and unfortunately I traded it in for a brand new 1985 model CR125 then. Obviously I wish I would have kept it. One day I checked Facebook Marketplace and luckily did find a 1978 model Elsinore 125 that was only about 15 miles from me. It was in really bad condition though, but it looked like a good starting point for what I wanted to do. I drove over to look at the bike and offered the guy $180 cash for it, and he took it. Like I said, the bike was in really bad condition. The wheels were totally locked up front and back. I had to drag it to the car. The engine was completely locked up and missing the pipe, missing the cylinder, and missing the carburetor. Most of the restored bikes I was seeing were in the $3,500 range, and there weren't very many of them available either, so this looked like a good starting point for me. I can take my time and completely restore the bike, every bolt, every bearing, every nut, get it just the way I want it. I decided to go ahead and start by restoring the frame to get a complete rolling frame. That to me was going to be a lot easier than tackling the engine first, because honestly I wasn't sure if I was going to need to buy a completely new engine or not. This one was in really bad condition, and who knows what the inside of this engine was like. When I unscrewed the oil plug, all that came out was water and rust. Not a good sign at all. I completely disassembled the frame and put all the bolts and parts in small bags to keep everything organized. The frame and swing arm were washed, wire brushed and sanded, and then repainted. Everything that was usable got cleaned, repainted, and all the wheel bearings got replaced. The brake pads got replaced, and as many of the nuts and bolts got replaced as I could easily find to replace them. The rims were in decent condition, but the spokes were a hell of a mess. I had to cut most of them out with a heavy gauge wire cutter, totally rusted. So I bought all new spokes and painted the hubs and respoked both of the wheels. I put new Dunlops on front and back, and I found some rubber tire paint and painted the Dunlop logos bright yellow, because this is the look I wanted. I also found reproduction DID rim stickers, so I added those as well. Most of the metal parts, like the kickstand, the rear brake stay, and the engine mounts, were heavily coated in rust, so I soaked these pieces in a 50-50 mixture of vinegar and water for 3 days, and then I brushed them with a wire brush to clean them up nicely before they were repainted. The forks were polished up, and new oil and new fork seals were put in. New red fork boots were also put on for an authentic look for the 1978 model. New bearings were put in the steering stem, and new bars and grips, new cables were all added. I got all new plastic from DC Plastics and new logos from REMX. The mounting holes for the new plastic all had to be marked and drilled, but I took my time so everything fits perfectly. I bought new rubber grommets and new bolts for all of the plastic mounting. The seat was a real challenge. I had nothing to start with. No seat pan, no mounting brackets, no foam, no anything. So I started from scratch. I bought a plastic seat pan from DC Plastics, new seat foam that's the right height for the original bike, and a new seat cover. Since I had no mounting brackets and couldn't find any available anywhere, new or used, I decided I had to make my own. So I thought about it for a while, and I ended up using some galvanized barn door hinges. I measured them out and cut them and bent them into the shape I needed them to be. And then I drilled and mounted them to the seat with stainless steel bolts. This worked out pretty well, and the tapered shape is very similar to the original seat mounts. I glued the vinyl seat cover to the plastic pan. Then I screwed tiny stainless steel screws all the way around the plastic pan, and then put more glue on top of that so the glue would grip between the vinyl and grip to the plastic seat pan. The gas tank was in decent condition, or at least I thought it was. There was a lot of rust inside, but overall it was pretty solid on the outside. So I found a product that was made specifically for resealing old rusty motorcycle gas tanks. So that's the route I was going to take. But once I got into it, I found that the rust from the inside of the tank had gone all the way through to the outside layer, and I actually poked my finger through the tank in one place. So as beautiful as it was, the original tank was a lost cause. My only other option was, one, to buy a plastic tank, which I didn't like the style of, and the shape of, and also decals weren't going to stick to a plastic tank, or two, buy a steel tank, which a company in Washington State makes. The steel tank is a reproduction of a 1974 or 1975 Elsinore 125 tank, but it's very similar to the 1976 through 1978 style tank. This one is just a little smaller and a little thinner, or slimmer, but all the mounting points are the same, and it mounts perfectly. I think it looks beautiful. At this point, I had a very nice looking, completely restored rolling frame. The engine was a special kind of mess. Every bearing and every gear were completely seized up. When I took the clutch panel off, the inside of the engine had about 3 inches of mud in it. It seems like this bike probably sat through a flood at some point over the last 40 years. It was probably ridden hard and abused, the piston probably seized, then it was parked, the cylinder was taken off, and then at some point the area flooded out, because there's an obvious mud line right through the middle of the engine cases. So every piece was taken out, soaked and scrubbed. All of the bearings, all of the seals were replaced. I did manage to find another used crank and piston rod assembly, and I found a nice used cylinder from Oregon and a nice head from another seller. This is strange though, and I'm glad I looked at the crank I got off eBay over closely. The tip of a screwdriver was broken off in the oil port of the piston rod. If this would have flown out when the engine was cranked, it could have ruined the whole crank and piston, obviously. Who knows how it got there? It's a 40 to 45-year-old part. I used a small chisel and tapped it out, and fortunately it was not touching the roller bearings below. The 2 roller bearings inside the cases were hard to find. I managed to find one here in the United States and another one in England from a company that sells Triumph parts. The dimensions were exactly the same in millimeters, so it worked perfectly. The gears were all scrubbed and reassembled with new bearings. The clutch was scrubbed and reassembled with new clutch plates. I ordered a new Wiseco piston kit, standard bore, and new top end bearing. The engine cases got all new stainless steel hex bolts. The original ignition looked like crap and had weathered everything this bike has been through over the last 40 years. Who knows if it had any sparks left in it. Fortunately, after I cleaned it all up and reinstalled it, it did spark. We all know what that means. It should start. DG is still making their original race pipes from the 70s. So this was the perfect look I was wanting for this bike. I also added a new Mikuni 32mm carb. Unfortunately, when the new carburetor came in, it wouldn't fit the original intake manifold that came with the cylinder I bought. So I had to track down a larger intake manifold that was built specifically for Mikuni carburetors. This hurt my wallet. The price on this little intake was $100. I've tried to pay attention to all the details, including small things like a new rubber crank vent pipe tube, accurate replacement parts, and the right bling for the look I wanted. Now is the big question. Will this thing crank? Will it run? How will it sound? That's another good question. Let's find out. After a few kicks, it did fire up. I oiled the crank bearings and new piston and rings up pretty good. So after it burned this off, it started sounding much better. The jetting and air screw settings are still off though. I don't plan to race this bike in any vintage races. It's basically a bike that I wanted to own and have in my living room. But the fact that the jetting is off bothers me. So I ordered some more jets to fine-tune it and get it running perfectly. With a DG pipe and 32mm carb, I needed to go richer on the main jet and on the pilot jet. Hey, there, that's better. Crisp, quick revving. Overall, I'm very happy with how this bike turned out. I've wanted one for a while, and now I have one.